Welcome to the LinkedIn Trust Series at Advertising Week New York. I'm BJ Smith. I have with me Jason Harris, CEO of Mechanism. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about Mechanism. What is that?
Mechanism, we're a creative advertising agency, independent agency. We started in San Francisco. We're in San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Seattle, and we really focus on Fortune 500 brands, doing creative strategy, etc.
Great. So I'm curious about how trust and transparency is relating to some of the brands. It's been a really interesting year, especially with the advent of fake news and whatnot. What extent do you think that we're living in a post-truth world?
Well, that's a good question. When I hear post-truth, it kind of presupposes that there was a truth world
Right.
before that,
Yes.
which means that there was a truth world and now there isn't, which isn't obviously not the case because nothing was ever 100% truthful. I mean, I'm in advertising, so we know that nothing's ever 100% truthful. But I think we have hit with current administration and where we are in our cycle. It seems like we've actually hit the bottom where you can kind of say anything to anyone. And if you look at Reddit or any digital property like that where folks can say their opinion, there's going to be opinion proving things one way or another, whether they're true or not, that a large group of people will believe in. So I think we've kind of hit, through digital and the administration, we've kind of hit the rock bottom of dishonesty.
I used to say that when I was 20, I had a very strong political opinion. I leaned one way, and I'm not trying to say which way I lean.
Okay.
But
you can say it. It's all right.
I'm not gonna.
Oh, okay.
As I got older,
Yeah.
it became more obvious to me that there's a little bit of truth in the left. There's a little bit of truth in the right. There's a whole lot of BS in between, I think.
Right.
So, and to me, that sounds like what you're saying is, when have we had that truth in there?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever. I think that notion of post-truth, it's kind of always been, I guess, a post-truth or a mixture of fact and fiction. Right. And I think because we're in advertising, as it relates to brands, there was a recent study that McCann did, an advertising agency, that said 42% of respondents believe that brands are dishonest. So
wow.
I think it relates to the idea that we live in this world now. People don't believe brands because everything's fake news, so it's hurt brands. And so there's an opportunity for brands to be authentic and be honest and stand for something, have a purpose, have a soul, have a mission, and connect with an audience, because it's sort of like a do or die time. And I think that it's a real advantage for brands.
So do you think that there are brands that are out there who have maybe stretched the truth a bit? And are we saying that we need to go back and say, maybe this is the reality? Or
I mean, you see it all. You see it across every industry, right? Whether sweeping things under the rug, whether it's contributing to pollution, products that they know are harmful, that hurt people, things that might blow up in a car that they bury. So I mean, I think all of these have contributed to people feeling like brands, trust me, I'm lying, is really what it feels like brands are saying.
So what's the next step for these brands? How do they need to clean up that reputation?
Well, I think it starts really from the inside out, and looking internally and making sure that your corporate policy and how you handle your employees and your workers and all of that is above board, and that you're doing things in a reputable way. Because the advantage of things that are happening now with the advent of social media is you can't hide anything, right? So brands are going to get discovered if they're lying and they're dishonest. You can't do that at all. And it starts with rallying the company around being purpose-driven and finding the truth for that brand that's right, and making sure your house is in order internally, then you can go out to the audience and to your consumer with a message. So I think it's a real advantage right now for brands that are doing it well, like Method, like Patagonia, like Ben and Jerry's, brands that really for a long time have credit for doing things correctly both with their employees and their message out to the world.
And that gets us into social good as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
One thing that I've been concerned about is so many brands are clinging to the social good idea. There are some brands who you look at them like the Ben & Jerry's and the Patagonia and the Cotopaxis and companies like that are clearly, they feel authentic when they do it. There's some brands out there that seem to be promoting the good things that they're doing just to clean up their act almost. How do you get a brand to do the right thing and still feel authentic?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it really comes down to being true to what their value is, finding what their purpose is, and really starting with that strategic work. What's relevant to the brand, what's truthful to the brand, and then going out with a message versus just trying to ride the wave of pop culture and jumping on board because, if you're a brand that doesn't support gay marriage at this point in time, you're left on the sideline, but you never supported it before. Right. I think it's really about, you don't have to support everything. You just have to find, that sort of one main thing that you really believe in and be consistent with it and truthful with it, and don't be afraid to promote it. But you really have to stand for something today, because I think consumers are demanding that brands bring value to them and beyond just products and services.
Yeah, I had an interesting experiment yesterday. There's a brand that I enjoy, outdoor brand, and I bought a T-shirt from them a couple of years ago that says "Do Good," right? Nice. And I think those are really great words to live by.
Yeah,
and that's
awesome.
what I wore as in my travels yesterday as I was coming here to New York City. And I think it's really important that when you're wearing that on your chest and people are looking at you and they're obviously paying attention to it, it makes you think that, I'm going to do this thing, but wait a minute. You have second thoughts before you cut that person off in the line or,
right,
or something like that.
It makes you
those
try to be a better person.
Yeah, exactly. And those brands, they need to symbolically wear that on their chest to make sure that that mission is going forward in everything that they do.
And I think that's a good point. When you have a set of guidelines and rules as a brand, and they're published and they're posted, and you have a one-page DNA of what you stand for. Right. The employees start to live that. Yeah. You have this thing that you're a benchmark that you have to live up to. It makes you behave and act a certain way. Right. So it's really important. It's a great, the T-shirt test is a good one. Yeah. You have to publish those things and put them out there so that those are the goalposts you try to strive for. I didn't know the Do Good thing, but we at Mechanism, we started an initiative called Make Good, which is very similar, where 10% of all of our resources and finance and talent and ideas go towards social good initiatives. Right. And we just printed, literally last week, we made T-shirts that say "Make Good," and we gave them to all the employees. And it's exactly living that credo and believing in that message.
Well, that's definitely a good way to start. So I think that's the takeaway is
make a T-shirt. That's it. And then you're done.
That's right. Make sure you live in it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Jason Harris, thank you for joining me today.
All right, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
All right, this has been the LinkedIn Trust Series at Advertising Week. We'll look forward to seeing you later.
Thanks.